Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Myanmar goal.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Vic Akers Wonderland. We are here for another episode and it has been a self-destruct button for Manchester United. But we are joined as always by Lottie. How are you, Lottie?
Yeah, I'm good. Bit devastated by my book I've just finished. The author's laid off one of my favourite characters, so I'm not too happy about that. But the weekend has still got me on sitting on cloud nine. And the title race is back on, baby.
Well, it could have been worse. You could have been reading one of my books on the train, which was the Hunger Games. So basically everyone dies.
I was going to say, I hope it wasn't the book I gave you. I was going to say, that was my book of 2023, you know.
I'll save that for another time. But speaking of books that have come back on top, Adam, how are you?
I'm half okay. I'm only half here, in voice only. We'll have to. Eager viewers will have to wait a few episodes until I'm back in the frame. But for now, it's just my disembodied voice. And in terms of books, I've still not recovered from Philip Pullman and what he did to me at the end of the Amber Spyglass. So
please don't remind me. Matt's reminded me of the authors that have done me dirty, and now you're reminding me of this. Please stop.
But at least I know that the pain I suffered at reading the book will mean nothing compared to the pain that Manchester United fans are feeling coming away from the game.
Oh, absolutely! I had some fun in the tolly after that game. That's for sure. There was a few United fans hanging about before and after the game. We did shut some up, didn't we, Matt?
Oh yeah, that was quite funny. Little chance of, and they just sat there, just sort of stunned, and just decided to stay quiet, which is basically how their team performed at the weekend. We should quickly go on to news then. So Leah Williamson has now been declared unfit for the England team, so she has been withdrawn. Fortunately, again, it seems to be that hamstring, so it means that she might not be playing in a couple of weeks' time against Tottenham in that North London derby at the Emirates. Leah Williamson's wait for an Emirates appearance this season continues.
Bit of a kicker that. I did hear something about that. I don't know how true or accurate it is, but apparently when they heal your ACL, they may take a bit of muscle out of your hamstring to sort of reform it, and that might be why therefore her hamstring might have a bit of hamstring troubles.
I've heard that as well, but I thought if she's only ever done one ACL, they'll take some of the cartilage out of the other knee. Maybe.
It was just.
I'd have to do some more research.
Yeah, believe obviously what you on the internet, but I've not. It's quite common for follow-up injuries to happen, setbacks to happen after something as devastating as an ACL. So we shouldn't be surprised by this, and maybe we should expect that Leah might be a bit more fragile, certainly in these early months coming back, and maybe in the long term as well. So wish her all the best. It'd be good to see her, but playing the Emirates at some point. Hopefully, she, if not for the Spurs game, she'll be back for the Leicester game. Should add though, this means that she still has yet to start a home or even play in a home game against Manchester United in the WSL, which is quite mad when you think about it. But alas, another season has passed without her being able to do that.
Just speaking on that, we had a very, very good attendance once again. There was a sellout in tickets. We don't actually know what the confirmation of is the actual attendance. There was a couple of seats in the higher ups.
Yeah, we had 60,160 people there.
That was the tickets sold. This has caused a really weird discourse online. Some people were trying to say that Arsenal are doing they sort of cover up almost, and sort of almost criticising the fact that the way they are portraying the attendance as tickets sold. I'm thinking it doesn't really matter, quite frankly. It's over 60,000, and that in itself just is brilliant, and should be celebrated and not picked apart forensically to try and find a flaw. If you're trying to do that, then I'm afraid you're taking this completely the wrong way.
It's the way that we're selling the tickets, though. Essentially, we're not doing it with much of a push anymore. Essentially, it's all there. I mean, it's very similar to us and how the Lionesses are now. The Lionesses could sell out Wembley within minutes, and that's not being rude to like some of the other teams in the leagues and things like that. There are fan bases that are bigger, there's smaller fan bases, but when it comes to England, because of the European champions and how they did at the World Cup as well, that's more of a huge pressure on them. They're going to sell out wherever they go. They're going to sell out Stadium Light. They're going to sell out St James's Park. They might sell out Wembley. They might sell wherever they go. They will be selling out. So I'm interested to see how it goes in Spain, who will be facing both Austria and Italy on Friday and Tuesday, and it'll be interesting to see how that squad is lining up, especially with how the injuries have affected that. But in the meantime, attendances at this moment in time, I don't think a couple of years ago we would have imagined there'd have been a sellout at a semi-final at the Emirates. We wouldn't have imagined that there would have been a huge sellout for an FA Cup final at Wembley as well. It's just things like that you don't imagine, but it's one of those things that you look back on and go, wow, how big have the attendance have been in the last couple of years, Lottie?
No, the attendances have shot up. Like, I remember most Champions League nights when there was about 5,000 to 7,000 people there. You just have the East Stand in one of the corners of the North Bank just full of people, and you have the club level open. It was just enough you could actually move around and switch seats at half time, but you can't do that anymore. Even when we were in the Champions League tail end of last season, you had to stay in your seat. The stadiums were full. And then you look back at, I think, Adam, was it you that posted the pictures of the first game at the Emirates? 5,000, was it? Maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, there's one thing where I compared. It was at Meadow Park. It was comparing when we had a Hoffenheim Champions League game.
Yes,
and the North Bank was relatively empty, and then you flash forward to I think it was the game might be the Manchester City game in the WSL. Place was rare, and that's only in about a year, 2 years or so that's happened. I was looking at some of the attendance figures for the first few games you used to have at Emirates Stadium. This is like pre-WSL, about 5,000 fans you get in there for a special game, like a end of season. Yeah, pre-WSL we used to have Emirates Stadium games in there. So there was a game against Chelsea, 1-4-1. I think there was a game against Leeds, 1-3-0. But these were like end of the season title celebration sort of matches. So the game would finish after the league wrapped up, and they'll get to parade it in front of the fans. But that was about 5,000. And then the game we all know about is the 3-2 win against Chelsea. That was about 8,000. And then the moment Euro 2022's happened, it's just gone drive, absolutely skyrocketed, and now it's fantastic for us. I just wish that other clubs were able to follow suit. They have, the likes of Chelsea, Manchester United, Man City. Hopefully, they can achieve something similar at some point. Because what we're doing now at the moment is absolutely fantastic.
There is always room to improve, and that's something that we're looking at throughout the league. I mean, look at the Championship at the moment. You've got a couple of teams that are actually playing in men's stadiums as well. But just talking about the big stadiums and what was going on before the game, the quadruple winning team were in attendance, getting nice little. I don't know what you call it. I wouldn't call it a trophy. It was very much like a. They had basically a piece of glass, and it had been lasered all the trophies that they'd won into. I'm sorry. Into the glass, yes. So I don't know.
You mean laser cut glass?
Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. Lottie's laughing at me like I'm an idiot. I didn't know the word for it, to be honest, but yeah, it was really nice that they were there. We also had a bit of celebration going around. Kim given her award for 300 appearances. Jen Beattie finally got her goodbye. Adam, is that one thing that you kind of was looking at and just thinking, oh, I wish I could have been there for that?
I mean, I missed it all because I was asleep. Because I've been working nights for the last week or so. I basically had my alarm set for 12:25, so I could just wake up and then just go straight into the game. I did see the scenes afterwards, though, the awards given out to the team and to Jen Beattie, and they're all legends. They're all Arsenal legends. Yes, even Emma Hayes, for what they did for the club at that time to achieve what they did together was amazing. And yeah, I wish I could have been there to pass on my regards and to congratulate obviously Emma as well, because it's the closest you're ever going to come to a European trophy, which there's a nice picture to see in the club section afterwards. It's great to see them being recognised. You know, we see them on the artwork outside the stadium, the legends that help make that quadruple unbeaten, unstoppable, all-conquering, team that's never been repeated certainly in our league. Yeah, I wish I could have been there to pass on my applause and my thanks for what they did, because Arsenal wouldn't be necessarily the massive club it is now were it not for the achievements of those who came before it.
So just quickly as well, because Vic was actually there as well, giving the award to Jen as well. That was a very special moment there. Was that something that you, or I don't know if Lottie, I didn't know if you were in the ground at that time, but could you hear it? And was
Yeah,
it
no, we were there. I got a very few good snaps of Jen from my seat. As the ever present Lucy would tell you, she was screaming Jen's song to her. Not that she could hear us, but it was a bit of an emotional time for like the three of us, because Jen's always kind of been there. And it's like it brought tears to your eye, like it's the end of an era, guys. Like, although I talk about the trauma of that final that never happened, it's like I'm missing a piece of the furniture. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She's just so Arsenal, and it's just like, what are we going to do now? But I understand she had to move on. And from what I'm seeing from Leia Cadena, there will still be a Jen Beattie sort of shaped hole, but in terms of football, I think we're going to just be fine.
So just lastly, before we move on from this, Jonas hit 100 appearances, 100 games. I don't know why I said appearances there. 100 games for Arsenal. It's a huge landmark. Not many managers hit that. So I was just wondering what both of you thought was is there any moments that you think of and go, oh, that sums up Jonas?
It's got to be that Chelsea win at the Emirates. That celebration. That celebration that's in our intro video. If you're a YouTube user, you will see that in our intro video. Any audio listeners, go and have a look. It's one of the best things in the world. That's the moment for me. It's just like, yes, we know the Chelsea girls mocked it, but he beat Chelsea. Like, I was hoping to see more when we did the 4-1 this season, but no, a little disappointed.
There's actually a bit more to that, because he did an interview about that celebration, and it was quite a sort of, not say stressful, but it was quite a difficult time for him, because he was in the process of moving over to England, and his family was still stuck over in Scandinavia. There was trying to get the passport sorted. It was a lot. He hadn't a chance to properly settle with the team. He was just getting his early teachings across. He obviously had those early qualifiers over, I think it was in Russia. So it was a lot on that game, a lot of emotion, and I think there was a lot going on in his personal life at the same time, trying to juggle all this. And I think it all came out of him at the end in the way that game was won. And I still think back and think it's incredible he actually won that game, because I think maybe people who are coming in, and there's a lot of criticism often coming in, let's say after the Euros, maybe aren't aware, or maybe don't appreciate where Arsenal was before Jonas took over. You think of the final months of Joe Montemurro, and the way that's a game that we would have. We drew it the previous season 1-1, but that was a game we'd lost 4-1 in previous seasons against like Man City and just not competing. And that was such a gear change. That whole 90 minutes was unlike anything I'd seen from Arsenal, and I can understand why Jonas was so roaring celebration. My Jonas moment was when we won the Conti Cup, and it's not so much. There's a celebration that you briefly catch it in the highlights. It's when Hafi, but it's the own goal that gets scored from the corner that makes it 3-1. And he has this like fist bump stack celebration with this coach he's brought in to basically do the set pieces, and it's such a nice moment where he's acknowledging. I think it's one of his ex coaches or someone he's known from Scandinavia he's brought in. It's such a lovely moment, and then it's like a lovely fist bump, and it just sort of celebrate that, acknowledging the work that's obviously done on the training pitch, and then obviously seeing him celebrate with the team at the end. With the trophy was a very special moment.
I think for me,
I was going to ask you, Matt, you've got to tell us yours. No.
Yeah, there's been some fantastic moments. I mean, the fact that I've managed to speak to him at the end against West Ham, the story is very much complicated. He apologised for the season because we didn't win the league. I said, don't apologise. You've given us a roller coaster and you've given us something to actually be watchful. Next season will be our season. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out. But I'm looking at this season and go, you know what? That Leicester game. Now, I can't remember which goal it was, but one of them was close to being offside, and he goes and celebrates, and then he turns around to the official, and I think it was Willie Kirk as well, and he goes, "It's not offside," and he's waving his hand as well, as if to say, "No, it's not offside" or anything like that. It's quite a funny thing, but I think we've all got our own special Jonas's memories. For God's sake. Yeah, we've all got our own special Jonas memories, and I'm sure you've all got your own, whether you like him or whether you don't like it.
Can I just throw one out there? Just remembered of it because it's a bit of a meme, and it's when he was with the BBC and in Australia, and he was wearing, I think it was a Sweden top over his normal attire, and Arsenal fans were in the pub with him chanting Arsenal stuff, and he was going, "Oh, Arsenal fans are everywhere. We're massive," and it was just such a brilliant moment of almost acknowledging his own fan base. You know, even out there, sort of respecting sort of the Arsenal name. He didn't have to. You know, he was in the world of the media, could be talking about the game, but it was nice that he sort of respected the fact that there was such a great Arsenal contingent that made the journey and was supporting Arsenal, and that was really nice for me to see.
Yeah. Is there any other memories that just quickly come to mind?
One other, and that was when we were in Amsterdam in the rainy cage, and him coming at the end of the game. All of them came over to us and applauded us, and he said that to all the away fans, "Thank you so much because you helped us get through it. It was an awful conditions. It wasn't a great game. One Viv goal got us over the line into the group stages, and he came over to us and said thank you for all your chanting throughout. It really helped get the team over, and that's the sort of thing that is very much appreciated."
You just remind me of Munich as well when we were up in the heavens and the players afterwards coming towards us and just seeing, "Oh, you're up there, are you? You just need to come and applaud him afterwards." That was good. But we should get on to. There was a game on Friday, believe it or not.
Was there?
On Friday?
On Friday? Did that benefit us though?
Yeah, some small stadium at Kingsmeadow, I believe it was, and some team called Manchester City.
Man City, yeah, they helped us twice this weekend, didn't they? That all racist.
Well, they owed us after messing us about the weekend prior, so maybe all is forgiven.
Yes, and
because we're all waiting for that famous Man City dip every season that happens. So
it's going to happen.
It's on the horizon. I have spoken.
Nice little Star Wars reference there. So, yes, just in this Bunny Shaw,
to be precise.
Well, in typical Mandalorian way, this is the way Bunny Shaw showing the Chelsea team how to score, finishing 1-0 in the end. But what are your thoughts on the game itself?
Well, we were recording the podcast at the time, and it was kind of, I had you on half the screen, Matt, on Skype as we do, and then I had the BBC on the other side. And I've got to say, it's really disappointing from Chelsea, from like the bits and pieces that I was kind of glimpsing at, and like a bit disappointed with what's her name?
Is it Ramirez?
Yeah.
No, it isn't. She's a midfielder.
Oh, is it Guru Rice?
You're thinking of Erin Cuthbert.
Yep.
Yes,
Bit disappointed. Her long shots are normally a lot better than that, and I know that because I cashed in on the fantasy football with her. So it's a bit disappointed, but thankfully I benched her for that game, and I really wish I hadn't done a last-minute switch between Alexandri and Neem Charles. So it backfired on me again. So I didn't have a very good week on that front. But the Arsenal did.
Go on, Adam.
I found it fascinating to watch because that's one of the worst performances at home I've seen Chelsea play in a long time. It was not supposed terrible, but they have played so below their levels, the usual levels that we'd expect, and especially in the first half.
The battle that we were expecting. I think that's the best way to put it.
Well, as I put, maybe because I was trying to invoke a bit of reverse jinxing, Man City haven't won there in the league since 2016. Wow. They've won they'd won a few Conti Cup ties there, I think, in slightly more recent times, but certainly not since when they won the league and went unbeaten in doing so in 2016 have they won at Kingsmeadow. And I was really surprised by just how tame Chelsea were. They didn't have really anything. And Man City, for the first 20 minutes, just had a greater intensity, a greater press. Erin Cuthbert, easily probably one of the worst games she's had for Chelsea. I think it was Jess Park who robbed her in the middle part. Jess Park, by the way, Matt knows all about her.
Great game.
She had a
great game.
Really good in the centre of the park. Learned well at Everton, clearly. Lovely ball for Shaw, and Shaw does very tuck it away. You watch it back. Hampton is super glued to her line. She has to come out and meet Shaw. She makes sure it makes the decision easier for Shaw because she's got more time in the box to take the touch and find the finish. Hampton has to come out and force her, rush her, make the decision earlier, but it was too easy for them. Fairness, Shaw should have got another one. There was definitely a contentious penalty shout. Chelsea should have had the opportunity to get an equaliser from the spot. That was a foul by Greenwood. But the problem is, as I say with these things, is it's not the fact that the penalty wasn't given, it's everything around the penalty. The fact that Chelsea are thinking we should have had a penalty to level the game is because you were struggling to do it everywhere else. In that second half, I watched the second half. I never at any point. I knew that Chelsea could score because we know what Chelsea are like, because they'll be rubbish and then they'll just score out of nowhere. But treating them as an ordinary team, I was looking at, like when we were watching Arsenal play low block, Chelsea just didn't look up for it. We should say though, Keating, hats off to Keating. What a magnificent double save at the end to win the game. And she has, since that howler she had, let's be frank, it was a howler in Arsenal that gave 3 points. She has been brilliant for Manchester City. She won the game when we played them in the FA Cup with some brilliant saves at the end. Did it again. Definitely in contention to be a future England number one. Hopefully we get to see her play in the international break. But it was not a win I expected for Manchester City, but they deserved it for the way they took advantage of Chelsea's sloppiness in the first half and a really good rearguard action with the likes of Greenwood at the back to hold out for the win. And because of that, we went to Friday thinking, right, Saturday rather, we have to win. We have to win now, otherwise title's gone. The title's gone for us because the Chelsea and Man City are basically going to make it a close shop. So yeah, it made what was already a high pressure fixture even more high pressure.
Yes, it was a weird game, and it was so odd to see Chelsea. Because they're such a dominant force, you're expecting them to turn up, get the goals, and then that's it, kill the game off, as they usually do. It seems to be this season, though, whenever it comes to the bigger games, I'm not going to call Manchester United the big game in this, because let's just say Manchester. I mean, in the past, Man United had to go over to Kingsmeadow to do something over there to get Champions League football. They were 2-0 up and then given up a three and conceded three, and Chelsea go on to win the
You're not
title.
still bitter, Matt. You're not still bitter about that.
No, it's not that. These are just facts of like over the seasons. Manchester United
Adam.
do not do well in the Chelsea games.
Adam, I know it's been a couple of weeks, but don't start throwing out your fishing rod already. It's been 25 minutes into the pod.
My fishing rod has been dry. It needs to go out and do some dunking. And
Sorry, Matt. It's been 25 minutes. He's definitely back, isn't he?
I know. Been too long.
But
You were
yeah,
saying that,
just in general, Chelsea have sort of just completely collapsed this season. You look at, to be honest, the game against City earlier on in the season. You look at that and you would have thought, you know what, City should have won that, considering that City were 9 players down, 8 players at one point, and managed to get a draw out of it. I think it says more about Chelsea than it did about City.
That was a weird game to watch. That the 1-1 draw, very weird game, and Chelsea were lucky to get a point.
And then you look at they come to the Emirates. I don't know what it was, but they didn't even. They look like they've been whacked in the face. You know, Looney Tunes, who was Wile E. Coyote when he's trying to do the traps, and it never catches the Roadrunner.
Yeah.
It felt like whatever Chelsea were doing as Wile E. Coyote, nothing worked. That's what it looked like, and it feels like at this moment in time, Chelsea have let their dominance show, and now they're sort of paying for it in the end because they're falling short when it really matters against the teams around them.
Well, but I think also we have to say that they have a team that have always been very over-reliant on the individual. I look at a player like Sam Kerr, who could score a goal out of nowhere and win in the game. I think of some of the games against Manchester United last season where she was effectively the difference. Lauren James is another one. If Lauren James is on fire and the opposition let her play, she will tear you apart. And I look at the Manchester United game when they came to Stamford Bridge, Lauren James hat-trick, won the game. She was amazing on that game, tore them to pieces. And also the game against, I think it was Liverpool as well. I think she got a hat-trick in that game as well. So they have got the players who, when they're allowed to play and when they're available and fit, they will be anybody. The problem is Sam Kerr's out for an ACL. We saw when the Chelsea came to Emirates Stadium, Arsenal put McCabe on Lauren James, neutralised her, and suddenly Chelsea became extremely toothless. And I think you look at the Man City game, Lauren James didn't have a sniff. Whatever Manchester City did, Lauren James wasn't able to play her game. And then Ramirez.
I feel like you suffocate Lauren James. She's got no other option to do what she can do.
Yeah,
and I think that's where her age plays against her big time.
Yeah,
and I think with the ACL of, is it Mia Fisher?
The official just had been released. Yeah.
So
it's more pressure on her to deliver, and I think that's right. With of age, you have to earn the right to play your way. You know, you can be the most talented player in the world, but that will mean that more players will gang up on you and crowd you out. And you have to overcome that in order to express yourself. And that's something that she'll have to learn. And I think she's capable because I think she's an amazing player. Ramirez, I think we can say, is new to the league and is going to take a while to settle. I know she scored a great goal against Crystal Palace, but I mean, and it was a great goal, but that does not therefore mean you have clicked, you're ready to go. That's just a piece of individual magic. I think it's going to take a while for her to settle into the team. It wouldn't surprise me if she scored her first goal, WSL goal, should I say, against Arsenal, in the WSL against Arsenal, Stamford Bridge, because that's always how the narrative works. But again, that's a striker you can see is not fully integrated in the team. She's got pace and strength. She's got the materials, but she's not there yet. And I think with the Sam Kerr injury of ACL, a new striker not fully settled, and Emma Hayes halfway out the door, it's all just a cocktail of unfortunate events that just might tip Chelsea out of their perch, unless they can sort of get them settle themselves down. But they have the players to do that. You know, Cuthbert, Charles, Brighton, Frank Kirby, lots of experience. Millie Bright, we haven't mentioned Millie Bright, she's still out. Big miss for them as well. They've got the players who can turn this around. They've done it before, we know that. We've suffered that. It's just whether they will this time.
So let's quickly move on to the game on Saturday, because that was the most important thing of the weekend, let's be honest. The starting 11, Sabrina in goal, Katie as right back, Leia, Lotta Weaver-Moy, Steph Catley, Leah Volti, Victoria Palova, Kim Little, captain, shall we say. None of this, Leah Williamson is captain. Kim Little is captain, ladies. No, sorry, everyone. Done it again. Beth Mead, Chloe Cass, and Stina up top. What were your
Matt,
thoughts?
are you trying to say the Athletics should know better by now?
Well, I'm saying people need to double check their writing, and also the editors need to do their job properly.
It's not just the Athletic. It's actually a lot of people, lots of media outlets who should know better. And it's been happening, I think, ever since she came off the bench against Reading, wearing the captain's armband. Well, just briefly, people have got it into her head. She's the vice captain this season, not the captain. Because she's also the Lioness captain, I think maybe people are maybe putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. Sadly, hopefully this it's just lazy, isn't it? It's lazy and it's slightly disrespectful, because Kim Little is one of the greatest players to ever play in the league, and she's one of Arsenal's finest ever captains. So it is a bit shameful. Hopefully, future publications, the media have done their homework.
Starting 11, Adam. What do you think?
I was very happy, because this is exactly what I put a tweet out saying I would like to see. So to clarify, I went to the Lioness and see Lioness game. So I got to see the cast play brilliantly, got a brace. I was right behind the second goal she scored. It was fantastic. So I thought, right, I want to see Chloe Lacasse start. I want to see Chloe Lacasse start instead of Caitlin Ford on the left wing. I think she's done the right to do that. And I also suggested that I think Stina should start as the lead striker. I should say I thought it would be Stina as the lead and maybe Russo as the 10, like we saw maybe against Brighton. But I was very happy to see Stina and Lacasse start, albeit Russo was on the bench. Obviously, a bit of a disappointment that Leah couldn't make it. So Dina played instead with Lottie Weaver-Moy. Again, saw them play against Lionesses. There was nothing there that alarmed me. What was interesting was that Sabs was in goal again. Back in goal. Last WSL game was, of course, against Manchester United, and we know she had a bit of a gaffe that turned the game. And so seeing her in the lineup, starting, should say she did play against Manchester City in the FA Cup, and I think we can all agree she did okay. Wouldn't blame her for the goal. Made a good save. Was pretty dominant in the air. So I was glad to see that she was getting some game time, and we should say she's off to the Gold Cup now with Lacasse. So this is basically their last game for Arsenal before heading off for the competition, and we wish them all the best. So no, there was nothing there that overly. I think the goalkeeper was the only one that made me go, gave me the But other than that, it was pretty much as I expected and as could be expected given the Leah Williamson injury.
Well, just for people's benefits, Amanda was actually out for this one with injury. We actually don't know what's happened to her.
It's an illness.
I read somewhere she was sick.
Yeah, it's an illness. That's why she was out. I think she was out for the. She was not included on the bench for the Manchester City game, and Eunice mentioned that was due to illness, and clearly that hasn't gone away yet.
So that bug that's going around is really doing the thing. Well,
yep.
I think she's actually pulled out from the Swedish squad as well at this moment in time. People will probably let me know whether or not that's wrong or right further down the line. But was there anything there for you that alarmed you, Lottie?
Absolutely not. Jonas has been listening to me and you the other day. Sabrina in goal, Chloe Lacasse on the left. Happy days. If only he would listen to me and the Kyra Cooney cross bloody start. But
she got 45 minutes.
But still, I'd like to see Kyra start once in a while. Chloe Lacasse on the left. just what I wanted, and I want more when she comes back. So, Caitlin Ford, you better pull your socks up, girl, and get some work in, because otherwise you're going to be on the bench a bit more often, I'm afraid, especially after a brace. I mean, this is the first. Is it the first time we've played her out on the left? It is, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes,
she's been replacing Beth.
Beth, yeah.
If I remember rightly, and that's why we've been crying out for it. But I want to see that a bit more. I want to see a bit more of a sort of switcheroo between Beth and Lacasse, because we both know they can play on both sides. I mean, I want that nice flow like we have with Mead and Lauren Hemp in England. That would be absolutely brilliant, because then it confuses people. And it's another wild card under Jonas's belt. And I think with the squad at the moment, he doesn't know his best 11. We've got that much he doesn't know in the rotation, and he does get that. And that's why I feel like he gets it wrong sometimes. But this time he absolutely nailed it. Yeah. Sorry.
So we'll just quickly move on. That first 2 minutes of the game, that was probably the most shaky that I've seen our defence and goalkeeper union really
I
be
just
shaky.
want to ask you about that, Matt. That the goalkeeping situation in them opening minutes, what happened?
I just think that comes down to their lack of experience experience and communication between the teams. Leia Cadena a couple of times just not being able to do what she was capable of doing further along the line, passing it out properly. A couple of short passes that were intercepted. We were lucky to actually not concede, if I'm honest, in that first opening 2 minutes. Sabrina did the same straight giveaway to I believe it was Hess Isa, who again, these are just opportunities that you look at and go, got to be careful here. And did that worry you just on those first 2 minutes?
I was peeking through my hands, put it that way, because obviously that first half I was square on to where Sabrina was, and it was just like, please switch on, wake up. I know you can do better than this. But yeah, it was a very look through your fingers moment and be like, oh my God, this is going to be a long game.
Well, 10 minutes it took Arsenal to eventually put one in the back of the net, and Hisa decided that, you know what, I'm going to put this on my thigh and it's going to go in the back of the net. Katie McCabe swings the corner in from the corner, and Hisa just puts the knees out there. No one else gets a touch on it and just goes into the back of the net.
Yeah.
Adam, looking at that goal, was there anything that you thought, well, this is just funny, or was this just like a very much a let's laugh at United because it happened?
Well, it's sort of set the trend, because I like what you mentioned about shaky. I quite like, because it's the exact same word I used for our first 5 minutes. It did not like we were settled, and I think you could tell that was the first time our back five had been in that. That's the first time that back five lined up. Sorry, that the goalkeeper, McCabe right back, Cadena, Lottis into back partnership, and Catnell left. It's the first time those five have played together, I think, in that setup. And it really showed with some of the poor communication, some of the poor passing, Sabs being a bit, fumbling across and getting lucky with a free kick. The flip side is I've always associated Manchester United with being a competent defensive unit. As we're going to discover as we go through this game, they're not. And this own goal that Gisa scored rather summed it up. I think there was actually a bit of communication about this with the set piece team. I think they'd identified something, because Arsenal had a corner earlier on that Earps had punched away. And apparently the team on the ground had noticed something and obviously conveyed it to McCabe. And maybe that's why her trajectory was slightly different. Rather than going aerial, she'd gone for a low one. And it just caused utter carnage. I think Lacasse let the ball run past. I think Zella missed it at the near post, and then Giza just sticks out a knee leg, try anything to block it, and it deflects into their own net. And I was elated, because I'm thinking, fantastic, an early goal. We struggled so much against Manchester United to score, and Manchester United gave us a helping hand to get us underway this time around. So, yeah, thrilled with the goal. You can laugh because it's an own goal. I want to go into a bit more, but I'll rather wait until we go over the rest of the goals. My sort of thoughts on it, because I think it was was part of an over-encompassing issue with the team on the day.
Yeah, with that one, I think it was really interesting because obviously in the ground we all thought it was Myla Tizé that put it in the back of the net. I had 2 different apps saying it was Nikita Paris, and now Daisy's name's just come into the thing. And I would rather have had the Paris one because we were seeing Paris as a gooner through that second half, which was fun, which Matt will agree with. But I just think the media outlets need to get back on it and really look at who's actually scoring these goals.
So there was a debate on the TV. They were debating this because I think Giza had the initial touch. There was talk that it might have brushed Letitia on the way through into the goal, and apparently, from an own goal perspective, that would take it away from Giza. But from what I can see, certainly on the BBC website, they are sticking with Giza at the moment, which I think is the right call. I think it is. But of course, nobody wants. You do have
talking about these other sporting apps like Sky Sports and a few others. They persistently get it wrong.
You do have the delicious statistic now, though, that Giza scored the same amount of goals for Manchester United as she has for Arsenal.
I think she was just bored because I didn't even realise she was playing until she was taken off. So I didn't even. And that's saying something. And she was so pivotal in the away game for them.
She's also been a player because she almost came to Arsenal a few years ago before going to Barcelona. She very nearly became an Arsenal player. So she's come back to the Emirates and got the goal that we were all hoping she'd get. She's not playing for the right team. Really.
Well, with 35 minutes on the clock, this was lovely play, and I didn't actually realise until I looked back on the game itself. Katie McCabe, with a quick free kick, decides to play it quickly for Mead, who waits for Victoria to come through so that she can play that through ball into the box. Victoria then plays a low ball into Stina. Stina's waiting. She takes a bit of a touch, but Katie Zellum sees it and just, for whatever reason, and this is the biggest. I was just sitting there laughing at this because Katie Zellum just, for whatever reason, just decides to slide tackle. The slide tackle then takes the ball over, and Chloe Cass heads it in. And this is even better because Chloe actually comments after the game that it was a great feeling. I think it was more reactive than anything. But when it crossed, I just put my big forehead on it, and there we go. And it's just very comical, and at the same time you're looking at, if that was Victor, I don't know, Vic wouldn't do that, but if that was anyone, why would you decide to slide in your own box to begin with, and why are you trying to why not be sensible and just try and hoof it away instead of further than she did?
It's absolute panic. It's panic because what happened was there was a free kick and they never settled for it. And this is something that we'll pick up with Arsenal did in the second half, which is why Man United got the consummation, but they were not prepared for the quick taking of the set piece. I think this came from a foul. I think it was Evans. Who, I think, we were to be frank, had an absolutely wretched first half, and we'll get on to maybe the sort of crowning moment for her, but she would have been booked. Mead was nutmegging her for fun, outpacing on the flank. I think Evans is a centre back that they're having to basically place at the fullback because I believe it's Gabby George is out with an ACL, and Riviere, who could also play there, was injured. So there is something. We talk about our back line of having to put some square pegs in round holes, like McCabe at right back and bringing Kadina in, even though she's a bit rusty, doesn't fully set the team well. Evans is the equivalent for Manchester United. And I think one of the reasons that we won is that we were able to take advantage of their defensive deficiencies better than they were able to take advantage of ours. I think that really showed in these crunch moments. And this moment, the defensive setup completely collapses. The team aren't switched on. McCabe, as you say, make a quick free kick to Beth Mead. She pings it around the corner for Palova. The defence isn't set. She knocks it back. Stina. The ball's just behind Stina. Stina doesn't hold her run. She overshoots. Palova knocks it too far back. That I'm thinking, oh, great, another chance gone. And Zellum panics. She panics and she sees what's going on and just, right, I just want to kick it out because I can see Stina's nearby. If she gets a better touch, she can score. And yet she hasn't looked over her shoulder. She hasn't checked who's around her. And Lacasse, the forward that she is, makes that intelligent run to the back post, anticipating something might fall her way, and it falls right onto her forehead. And she delightfully runs away to the away fans, sticks her tongue out, cups her hand behind her ears in true Kai Havertz style. And we are 2 goals to good, and the Cass has now scored home and away against Manchester United.
I'm
She
actually
obviously
going
loves
to
playing
correct
against
you
them.
on that one. I think she learnt that
Oh.
one from someone else. It's not Havertz. I
Oh,
know
was it
someone
I
else
thought
who's been
Havertz-
doing that.
Oh, who is
I don't
it?
think
Who
she's
is
picked
it?
that up from Havertz at all.
Oh, right.
There is someone else in this team that does do that, and she's
thought it
been
was Havertz that did it.
photographed in front of the Man United fans. They're not angry;
I
they're all
know.
sitting taking pictures of her. So it's a bit of an odd one.
It was I was so grateful for this because this was a game, especially after last season. I just felt we had to, the way it played out. We had to win this one. We had to right that wrong because that was the sort of the result that kicked Manchester United
Adam,
up to.
Russo's always on the winning side.
Well, there is that, yes, but I felt that this was the. Curiously, Russo didn't even start this one, which I thought was really interesting. Turned out it was tactically pans out the right decision, but going 2-0 up, I really gave him the comfort that we've got this, because apart from those 5 minutes when Manchester United had a few set pieces and we weren't set, and I think Toon had an effort that deflected wide. I think that was just before we got a second goal. That was came off Kadina, and I thought another day that rolls into the opposite corner and suddenly they're level. That was really the only moment of jeopardy certainly in the first half, and I would say in the first 70, 80 minutes. And I think what shocked me was, yes, Arsenal were in control. They dominated the ball. We got the turnovers in. I thought Palova and Velty were doing good work in the midfield. Lottie was switching the play over to the flanks for Lacasse. So that was all working well. If I'm brutally honest, I don't think we played amazing in the 90 minutes. I think we controlled the game well. I think Man United just, you talked about the self-destruct button, that the mistakes that they were making, they just gifted. All 3 goals were defensive gifts. Their own goals. There was the penalty which we'll come to, and the manner in which they very sloppily didn't set up for a free kick and then basically passed the ball to us. I think I look at the Chelsea game. I thought we were better when we played Chelsea, for example. I thought we played some really nice playing football. I think in this game, when we played our nice stuff and we got the opportunities, we maybe didn't take them. I think we were indebted to a Manchester United team that, well, I don't know what they did, what they took before they went out on the pitch, but I don't think they should do it again because they were utterly dreadful. And the worst Manchester United performances I've seen, certainly this season. I know they haven't had a great season, certainly compared to last season. But their fullback, I can't remember who was on the other side. It was Letitia, the nightmare with Chloe Lacasse, just couldn't handle the pace. The way that
do you mean Evans?
Evans was on the Mead side.
And then on the other side was it was Blundell.
Sorry, Blundell. Letitia was centre backs. Yeah, Blundell, and she got booked as well for chopping down Lacasse. And Jonas sort of revealed afterwards the way he set his team up was to exploit the space behind the fullback. So he put me on Evans, he put Lacasse on Blundell, had Stina, to run in behind the likes of Turner and Letitia, and that was how. And it was so. The fact that Jonas knew how to set his team up to beat the Smart Skinner side well in advance, and he'd done it before when he played them at the NSV. The fact that he was able to set it up that way, and the fact that it worked, sort of shows how abject Manchester United were, that they were so predictable and so easily played off. All we had to do was just say, play a few players, I'll put Stabs in goal because our long balls will clear the press. It was ridiculously easy in that first half for Arsenal to get there, to get to the penalty, I suppose, in a bit with the 3-0 lead. And just what a wretched display Manchester United had.
So 42 minutes on the clock. Chloe puts it in across. Kim gets her head onto it, just to glance it onto Beth Mead. Gemma Evans then decides, you know what, I'm bringing you down. And Kim Little goes, takes the penalty. She puts it right down the left-hand side. And it's now 19 goals from penalties for Kim Little. It is now officially a WSL record. Just, I know we could sit here talking about Kim Little all night, but just the whole play and how it came about, it was a very nice move. And I don't really think that Beth was going to end up scoring from when Gemma Evans decided to take her out. If I'm honest, it just seems again another error, as you've said, Adam. I think I've said it as self-destruct. As Gemma, I don't know what Gemma Evans decided to do, but at half time, Mark Skinner decided enough is enough and decided to sub her off.
She was lucky not to be sent off for a second yellow. She could have had no complaints. I mean, for a penalty, sometimes the referee decides to go to their book and, book a player. There's no reason. She could have easily been given a second yellow. And I think that's one thing I will commend Mark Skinner for.
Heel slip that was referee on Saturday, wasn't it? Yeah. We had a lot of yellow cards handed out. Sorry,
something weren't deserved, something were, but it's one of those things.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no, she's card happy. She's card happy. That ref, she drives me nuts.
What I will commend Mark Skinner for doing correctly was getting rid of taking them off the half time, because I think the way that Beth Mead toyed and tortured with her, I mentioned earlier the racing down the wing, outstripping her with her pace or chopping inside. I just think she didn't know what was left, what was right, up or down, and just a rush above the head. She saw Beth Mead take a slightly heavy touch and thought, I can win this, and Mead's way too quick for her, knocks it past her and takes the contact. It was so basic. It was so basic, and hats off to Kim. She's missed her first 2 pens of the season, but she scored against LTM, and that's her first league goal of the season now against Manchester United. Took the game to 3-0. Interesting little bit about the penalty. She said in her post-match interview, I don't know if any of you caught this yet, she was going to go to the keeper's left. That's what her original plan was, and she changed mid-run-up. She changed her mind, because as she was running up to take the ball, she noticed Mary Earp shift. At the last minute, she switched to keeper's right, her left perspective, and scored it. So it could have easily been a save, but I know people don't recommend changing your mind at the last minute, because that's usually when you blaze it over the bar, you don't have your composure right. But she had the intelligence. She saw the keeper move and quickly changed her mind when she took the kick, and luckily rolled it into the net. And at that point, I was in dreamland.
See the goal and the lead up.
Sorry.
Matt, you lost it. Say that again.
Lottie. Just trying to ask for Lottie how she was feeling about Kim's penalty, sort of building up towards it.
It's Kimmy. It's nothing. It was never in doubt. Let's be honest. It's very rare that she does miss a penalty. I mean, she said Mary Earp's the wrong way completely. Like, you can just see if you watch it back frame by frame. Like, Mary Earps is mortified. She's gone the wrong direction. She's mid-air and she's seen the ball hit the back of the net. So it was never in doubt Kimmy wasn't going to score. Although I have said that and it's completely backfired on me. But yeah, no, it was just like, okay, let's have another Kimmy go in front of the United fans. Easiest player for me.
Very quickly, we'll say on the talk about build-up, Chloe Lacasse for all 3 Arsenal goals had a very decisive impact. It was her cross for the first goal that set up the corner. She obviously scored the second goal, and again, it's her cross from the left that sets up the penalty opportunity. It's that outpacing on Blundell, and the fact that Blundell has been booked. She knows she can't bring Lacasse down, because it could risk a second booking, because it would have been a cynical foul. I just think she had, and I love the fact that, we'll get on to full-time bit, but I love the fact that they played the Voulez-Vous chant at the end in the stadium. I caught some of the audio of that, and you can see the players dancing along. That was I know we've been screaming for the cast to come into the game and start, and that first 45 minutes, that's exactly what we wanted to see. And I think Ford's a very talented winger. I just don't think Ford has that in her game. She's not that kind of winger. Ford's a more strength and trickery winger, whereas Chloe Lacasse, as we know, is just full road runner pace. Just take them on the outside, get it to the byline, outpace them, and then clip the cross in. Did that time and time again, and we got 3 goals out of it, with a little helping hand for some of the Man United incompetent defending. But no, that was Lacasse's best 45 for Arsenal. She has had many moments, sadly, for Arsenal, but that was a real sort of statement attempt. When she gets back to the Gold Cup, we need to see her in the starting lineup more.
So just in the second half, there's only a few points, and that is mainly that Beth Mead hit the bar twice.
Yeah.
And then Garcia scoring the tap in. So no clean sheet again for Arsenal.
So
But
yeah,
we do
I do
have
have some bits on this.
go on.
Yeah, just one touch this. I thought so there was the first one me hit the post. Stina has a 1v1 with Earps. She again didn't have any confidence she was gonna beat Earps there. Earps as well, fair enough, rushes her out, but I think Earps has to think it over her. She goes for the wrong finish. She tries to do the Henri. I'm going to step out and curl the ball round. Earps to close down the angles far too quickly. Me then obviously hits the post a few seconds later, gets rather unlucky. Then the second one deflects onto it. Arsenal should have gone 4-0 up. At that point, we should have gone 4-0 up and really cranked up the goal difference. We didn't. We brought a load of subs. I think we brought Miedemar and Russo on and Frieda on and so forth. And the game just sort of stopped. I don't know what it was like for you in the ground, but it just felt like the game just sort of as though everybody would. I don't want to say Manchester United gave up, but I never felt like they were coming back into it until about 20 minutes to go. I think Paris had a header that actually she was called offside, actually wasn't, but it went wide. We had a few head injuries. I think Catley took a blow to the head, and then I think Veltman took a blow to the head as well. And I think in that moment, it felt like the entire team got a bit scrambled because there's a bit of it when Veltman thought maybe Veltman was going to kick off, then she wasn't. The whole team didn't accept. So Man United won a corner right at the end. We didn't get it right. Missed her punch and obviously Garcia taps in the back post. It felt the game went very weird near the end. It was like Arsenal sort of stopped playing and Manchester United had sort of stopped playing as well. And then Man United realised, we could maybe get a goal. And by the time they did score, obviously it was too late. I was really hoping that they would kick on and sort of continue the intensity, but it never really happened. I don't know if you felt the same for you. The game seemed to almost. Maybe it's because I was half tired because I was on nights and I was sort of watching this game and looking forward to going back to sleep. But it did feel like the game had fallen asleep a bit after the likes of Stina came off and the likes of Russo and Miedemar came on.
It did feel a bit odd towards that second half because I felt that we should have quite easily got that fourth. And I think we are looking back, just the fact that Beth hit the bar twice. That's now. I'm trying to count how many games that she's now played at the Emirates and not scored.
She scored against Chelsea. She has scored
this season.
Oh, she scored this season against Chelsea.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm thinking of something else then.
This fixture is not exactly her favourite fixture.
That is
she
true.
hasn't scored against Manchester United. She hasn't scored against Manchester United.
And that's not me defending her, but it's you kind of. I feel like the last few games we've been just waiting for that Beth Mead goal, and it's post after post after post, and you just wonder when's the next one going to be? How long is this mini drought going to last? We're going to kind of need her and Caitlin to step up while Chloe Lacasse is away at the Gold Cup.
We should say me did win player of the match, and the Sky player of the match. I think Lottie won the supporters player of the match, but Lee did win the Sky player of the match. So just give it to her full time. I would have given it to Lacasse personally.
Definitely.
Definitely. Should just say that. On Lottie and Moy, she looked great looking on the TV, looking from above and seeing the play, but on the ground, what did you think of Lottie's supporters club player of the match performance?
She did well, but I didn't think she actually deserved it, if I'm honest. I think Chloe had a really good game. The fact that she actually ended up playing right back because Steph had to go off injured was actually huge, and she made some really good challenges defensively. I mean, she has in the past had to play that right or right-sided wing back sort of role before. I don't think there was really anyone but Chloe that really blew me away in terms of player of the match. But I think we'll have to say that it was a good team. We should actually talk about Chloe, actually, because as you mentioned afterwards, everyone was singing and dancing after at full time when they put her chant on. It was a bit of a good moment for her as well. I think she felt that if any time was to get another important goal, it'd be this game, because it seems to be that she loves scoring against Man United at the moment. This is her second goal now. Lottie, you're sort of laughing. Yeah, and Leicester. Yeah.
Leicester. Yeah.
Lottie, who was your player?
Oh, it's got to be Lottie for me. I really enjoyed her performance. It's not very often that I feel that we look upon Lottie like, oh, that was a solid performance. Especially after Steph was taken off. I just think she really shone from that moment onwards. I mean, she's come so far in the last few seasons, and it's about time we kind of, I feel like some of us appreciate that. It's not everybody, because there's obviously you got the diehard Lottie fans, you got diehard Leah Williamson fans, Beth Mead. Everyone has their favourite players, but I feel like sometimes she gets a little bit overlooked, especially when she was sort of overshadowed by the likes of Rafaeli at the time. But now there's no Rafaeli. She has the opportunity to be first choice centre back, and I think she's proving her worth. And I hope Serena is watching, because can you imagine that's Leah Williamson, Lotte Wibben-Moy's solid centre back partnership? I do feel sometimes she would be a stronger option than Millie Bright. I'll be honest with you.
You can only hope. I don't know how much you remember of the game last season, but it was Lotte Wibben-Moy's mistake. She accidentally
if you look at her, how she's played this season compared to last season,
I know, and
her improvements. That's my point. Like every single player makes mistakes, Adam. You can't hold it against them. If you did that, you'd end up hating the whole team. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
I want to hope. I'm not holding against it at all. It's the opposite. I want to say that actually, that game last season, we didn't have control over. We didn't control the game. We were very sloppy. We got the lead. We should have closed the game out. We didn't.
I don't think it's funny. We lost Beth Mead in that game last season.
That was after we lost the game. We had lost the game, and then we lost Beth Mead. We lost Beth Mead trying to chase the game again, because Russo just got the late winner. But what I mean is, if you flash forward to this season, the way that Arsenal controlled that game in the second half, and Lotte looked so solid at the back, especially in the second half, that Man United just did not have a way back in. I think it just shows how much this team has grown, how much Lotte has improved as a defender since then, and I think that's really impressive. And
also the case of, in terms of the team growing, we're not worried about who's going to fill in where. I'm not worried.
Not anymore.
I was a little bit question mark over Emily Fox not being there, but it's Katie. I trust Katie. She could play anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
She's really settled into that right back slot, because I think it was a bit ropey, so I'd say, when she first settling. But now it's like, Katie right back. It's fine. She can do that. I mean, again, the only other shaky point I would say is like Kadina. I think she had a rough 5 minutes, and then I think she got better as the game progressed and got more comfortable in her role. I think it's interesting that she played as a left centre back at Barcelona. Yeah, absolutely. So she played as a left side centre back at Barcelona, but she's been employed as a right side centre back at Arsenal. And I think that's probably because she's right-footed. It's trying to give her more, make her more comfortable defending. And certainly she hasn't had the minutes she might have liked, but with Yen Beattie gone, I think this is, and Amanda now ill, I think this is her moment. I think give her enough time. I think she'll settle and become a very good squad defender for us, which we'll need.
So that is all from us this podcast. Adam, where can people find you?
You can find me now that I am no longer the night worker. I'm back amongst you day shift folk in society. You can find me at Adam44, where I'll be back tweeting absolute about the women's football, and occasionally some gems at the same time. I'll let you be the judge of that.
It never stopped, to be fair.
It's just going to be even more. I've had to cut back to about 500 tweets a day, but I'll be back to my 1,000 when we're.
I wondered why my timeline was so clogged and I had to get the plunger out.
Where can people find you, Lottie?
I can find me at Lottie_AWC. Usually talking about men's or the women's football, or spouting stuff about my favourite authors killing off my favourite characters in my books. You can also find everybody on VAW Pod, which is our main page on Twitter, we have had to shorten it because Vic Akers Wonderland podcast is way too long for a Twitter name. Mr. Musk needs to sort that out.
Well, that's not the only thing he needs to sort out. But anyway, so
Anyhow.
let's get away from that. You can find me at MattLR28. Thank you for joining us, and it's been a fantastic podcast once again. Thank you both, Lottie and Adam. I hope to see you all soon. We will be back soon for another podcast. This time we'll be talking about the international break. Until then, come on, Arsenal.